Welcome back to our YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. Cosmo Choi is a Kenyan-born political commentator, a man who always airs his views without any fear. He lives in the USA, but recently he jetted into the country, and he continues to give his views on what he thinks happened and how he feels the arrangements, political speaking, should take place in 2027. You all know that whenever we are approaching an election year, there are realignments here and there. And in fact, no one can tell me what will happen in 2027. People usually jump, camps, some switch from Azimio to Kenya Kwanza, others from Kenya Kwanza to Azimio. Now, Cosmo Choi was with Jalango, and he made certain sentiments. Of course, he's been a very strong supporter of William Samoei Ruto, but of late, I think he is switching camps. I think it is because how Ruto handled Matiang'i and what is happening in Kisii and Meru and all that. So he is saying that William Ruto is no more. He's a spent cartridge. But one conversation that elicited several reactions is that he is asserting with authority that in 2027, Babu Owino will be the Nairobi governor. And then he says that in 2032, it will be maybe Rigathi Gachagua for president, and after that, Babu Owino can now become the president of this country. I want us to watch him speak, and then we delve, because I want us to look at, is it possible for Babu Owino? Because if there is one conversation that is ripe now, whether we like it or not, is the real alignment, especially for the Azimio guys in 2027. Why am I saying so? If you look at William Ruto's side, they have all agreed unanimously that their presidential candidate is William Samoei Ruto. And I think as it is, the deputy will still remain, the running mate will still remain Rigathi Gachagua, because William Ruto still needs him. Or if they have to change, they might go for another nomination, the way they voted the other time, and it was said Kithure thwarted Rigathi Gachagua. But for them, there is no problem, and I think they will still have Sakaja. And Sakaja cannot go anywhere, and I will tell you why. Because of his certificate issues, he will still remain. So if you ask me, they have a plan for a president, deputy, and a governor of Nairobi, that is. But if you look at Raila's side, we still don't know. Because the way Raila is playing his politics, he's giving us an indication that he might hand over the baton to someone. And the vector is pointing at Kalonzo Musyoka and Martha Karua, or people like Oparanya, Eugene Amala, and all that. I'm saying this because even the way he gave Kalonzo authority to head the bipartisan talks, it tells you that he's got something bigger for Kalonzo Musyoka. But for governor, it is going to be back to the drawing board, because last time you know what happened to them. So they must, and early enough, they must tell their people where they are headed to, so that we can avoid any confusion. Wajipange mapema. Listen to Cosmo Choi.
Right now, Ruto, nobody. It's only that we build the Babu. Babu in the near future. I love Babu.
So Babu 2027.
2032.
2027?
Yeah. 2032, they're going to square.
Let's start.
Yeah.
Babu 2027.
Governor Nairobi.
Governor Nairobi.
Damn deal. Damn deal.
Babu Governor 2027.
You know why? Let me tell you. I know about it. I told you Ruto will win this thing, and it happened. And I told people, the way I was seeing, I told people relax. It's going to be 7.1, and it came exactly. So this is what is going to happen in 2027. Sakaja atichuya anasimama wapi? Ako katikati hapa, ako pande ile. Wale walimupigia the other side kama masemeti yangu wa Kikuyu, amewaruka sana, hatapata kura, is done. Then hapa kwa ODM wako na candidate yao ambaye ni Babu. Unaona namna hiyo? Babu atawini kura mingi asubuhi na mapema.
Na timu Wanyonyi si unajua pia nasimama governor.
Hapana, Waruya wawili namna gani? Unajua tu lazima tupige siasa. Hata unaona senator ni Mluya. Huyu mwingine ni Mluya. Hii kitu tuangalie, kwa Kenya is big. Hatuwezi kuweka ati huyu akitoka ni governor, huyu ni Mluya na huyu ni Mluya. Haikuangi hivyo. Unaona namna hiyo? Kenya ni kubwa. Nimeendorse Babu Owino asubuhi na mapema akuwe governor wa Nairobi.
I want us to go straight to the alignments and realignments that will take place and what will inform and determine how things will move politically. As we do this, if you are watching us for the first time, kindly don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell so that whenever we do a video like this, YouTube will recommend it to you. And please like this video so that YouTube can recommend it to even more viewers, and you can share it if you can. Now, there are just about 3 things that will determine what happens, especially when we have to look at who becomes the governor or who will be the gubernatorial flag bearer in Azimio. One will be based on ethnicity. We are in a very ethnic-based political country where we play our politics based on our tribes. Now, this is what will happen. Speaking on tribe and ethnicity, if Raila Amolo Odinga hands over the sword to Kalonzo Musyoka and the rest of the Azimio, then the Luos will say that for us to support, then we also want maybe a governor in Nairobi. And that is how Babu Owino can come in, because if you look at the hierarchy, Babu Owino is being mentioned at one of the hair apparel, even in Nyanza. That will give him an advantage, because Luos will be asking you, our man is no longer, contesting. Raila might remain as a patron. And I know it goes without saying that they might produce a candidate. Because we have a senator, the Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, who comes from the Mulembe nation, they will be told, because you have a senator, remain Ridhika nayo. And that really places Team Wanyoni in a very precarious situation, because we can't have 2 lawyers. It goes without saying, because lawyers are here, Luos, Kikuyus, Kambas, and all that. So that will disadvantage Team Wanyoni. If they agree and say that Raila will still bear the presidential flag, then Babu Owino cannot contest in Nairobi as a governor, because they will be told, we have given you a presidential candidate. And I know that if at all they agree, and then Kalonzo still becomes the deputy, if Kalonzo does not walk away, then the Kambas cannot be given a governor in Nairobi, because Kalonzo is already on top there. So with Edwin Sifuna still being there as a senator, I can assure you that Team Wanyonyi is still very disadvantaged. Not unless they agree that Sifuna drops his ambition for the senatorial seat, then allows Team Wanyonyi, then that will happen. So that is just an example on the tribal arrangement. Then we have the party arrangements now. If ODM, I'm assuming that Azimio remains the way it is. If ODM produces a candidate, then we cannot have an ODM producing a gubernatorial candidate, because I believe we have DAP is there, ODM, ile chama ya Martha Karua, we have Jubilee, even though we still have wrangles, I don't know. We have 40K, Wiper. So they will decide. If, for example, let's just say, get Raila outside the picture, and then you say, for example, that Babu Owino is nominated as a presidential candidate, or for example, they decide that they give someone else that the presidential card in ODM, that disadvantages Babu Owino, because he cannot vie in Nairobi where as a coalition, they will say ODM has already produced a presidential candidate, another party will produce a gubernatorial candidate. So if Wiper gets a presidential candidate, then the card that will be used now is not the tribal, the card per se, but the party's card. Now they say that we now produce a gubernatorial candidate. That will be it. So Babu Owino, based on tribe and party, he can only get a chance if Raila is no longer there, or if there is no any other Luo that is given a presidential candidate. The other thing that will happen here is that will the Azimio fraternity hold together? Because the way things are moving, you never know. Rigathi Gachagua is working very hard, day and night, to clip away people like Martha Karua and the Kikuyu leaders, or the Mount Kenya leaders who are within the Azimio fraternity. And I know they might not go because they also want to bargain. The other time when people were selected to go for the bipartisan talks, you saw Martha Karua having a meeting, and they said that they really feel they need to be represented. And that prompted on the first, the Azimio to give Jeremiah Kioni something, because they just want to be and feel part and parcel of the talk, so that they can also champion for their region what they feel is ailing them and how it can be done. Talking of acceptance, I believe Babu Owino is accepted, especially in ODM, and in Nairobi he was a student leader in the University of Nairobi, and he knows how to play his politics. People, especially in Luo Nyanza and people in ODM, always love two things in a leader. One, they want someone who is sharp. Is Babu Owino sharp? I believe he is. He's got skills in actuarial science. He's got degree in that. He also graduated with a bachelor's degree in law. So that tells you that Babu Owino is sharp. That is one thing that if you ask anybody from law, they will tell you they take pride in someone who is sharp. Academic acquisition in class and the mental capacity, we believe Babu Owino has that. Number two, that goes without saying, Luos and people from Nyanza want someone who is very tough. If you look at Babu Owino, Simba Arati, Raila Amolo Odinga, those are people who are not afraid, because usually it happens that they deal with a very cruel arm of the government of the day. For example, you can see what Ruto is doing, killing people everywhere to silence them. So they always want people who can stand up in the wake of brutality, like it is happening. Babu Owino was harassed yesterday. He was apprehended anyhowly, and this tells you that William Ruto knows his capacity. So with those two credentials, Babu Owino stands a chance, but it will depend on the tribal arithmetic and the party arithmetic. If it favors him, then I know he can be. But the biggest conversation that we must not avoid now, and we cannot avoid, is how we organize ourselves. For the Azimio fraternity, they must organize themselves and show their supporters early enough and restore confidence that they are in this game to win.